Okay, why is dry fasting the best type of fasting? You know, there's lots of different types of fasting. There's the one right below it, which is water dieting, sometimes called water fasting. There's juice fasts, which is not a fast, it's eating juice. There's intermittent fasting, where in a 24-hour period, you're probably still eating some food. And when you evaluate all the different fastings between the two camps, okay, no water, no food, and a little bit of this or a little bit of that, that's how you have to look at this stuff. You're asleep at night to heal yourself. Do you eat and do you drink while you sleep? Probably not. That's the reason this is the best form of fasting. It puts you in metabolic sleep for days on end. It allows autophagy to continue days on end. All right? It allows stem cells to regenerate over and over and over, go through the transit amplifying phase to make billions of brand new stem cells to remodel tissue, to prelocate in the niches and pump out paracrine signals to make all those cells act younger and look younger. And, and it happens in a couple of days. I mean, really. You know, you can go on these juice fasts and these keto fasts and all this jazz, and it's months and months and months and months. You start seeing, oh, I've lost a half a pound in 3 weeks. My gosh, I'm really doing something. Dry fasting, you lose 15 pounds in 5 or 6 days. Number 2, when you starve out all the water from your body and you force your cells to make their own water in the Krebs cycle, you're flooding the cells from the inside out with water, flushing them into the extracellular matrix, which then flushes into the lymphatic system, and out it goes into the bowel, which you'll see at the end of the dry fast. Water fasting can't do that. Because if you're hydrated, okay, there's no reason for a positive pressure in the cell. You got plenty of water. The systems are turning on in a water fast that actually cause gluconeogenesis. So, and you'll read in my book, The Phoenix Protocol. I got a funny little story in comparison to how this works. But essentially what's happening is to produce blood glucose and plasma glucose for the brain and blood, you have to start dissolving your skeletal muscle tissues like your heart, your biceps, triceps, forearms. And because it's searching for ketogenic amino acids, in particular alanine, which creates ketones, which keeps your blood and brain alive. And you're barely cutting any fat because there's no reason. You're drinking water, which keeps the digestive system going. So it's completely screwed up for weeks. In fact, it takes at least 3 times longer to get any of the same effects in 3 days of a dry fast with 9 days of a water fast. It's up to you. I mean, seriously, you can do what you want. I'm only promoting dry fasting because dry fast is the best. It does all this stuff. It gets rid of the toxins. And one thing that it does when you stop drinking water for days on end, it parches out the parasites. These are parasitic organisms. They require you to feed them water and food. If you're not feeding them food and water, they die off in droves. So sometimes you'll get a little ill, a little queasy feeling because you're killing all this stuff with all this horrible biological toxins associated with it and their dissolution in your body and your body trying to get rid of it. You know, there are conditions in dry fasting that are not pleasant, and they're good. They're not pleasant because it proves it's working. It's good that it works so fast because all these things are happening in 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 days after the second day. So you're talking, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and you go through temperature changes and so forth, and you get it all over with in a week. That's why it's so much better. It's done quickly. You see, I don't know about you, but I'm really impatient. And if I have to wait for months to lose 2 or 3 pounds, where I can lose 15 in 5 or 6 days, or if I have to work out for months and months and months the wrong way to build muscle, and I look at my book here, Neogenesis, it shows you how to do it 3 minutes every day to build all your muscle back and stuff. I mean, there's things that we don't know on purpose, but the reason I choose dry fasting is because it works so well. That's all it is. I mean, you don't have to do anything you want. You can have all your reasons in the world to do it or not do it. The whole, if I don't drink water for 3 days, I'll die. Well, I'm about to do my 6-7 day dry fast, so I guess I'm only working on 3 or 4 of my lives left here as the big cat. I'm not worried about it. What I'm worried about is people not starting it correctly. That's why you need the book. Ending it correctly. That's especially if it's a 7-day. That's why you need the book. Not so much for the 5-day. You'll see later. And to think about what they've done to themselves. They've regenerated tons of their own body with their own stem cells, their own genetic pattern, their own code. Didn't have to go out of the country. Pay $25,000 a shot for multiple shots of $25,000 to what is done in 7 days during a dry fast. Have completely endogenous stem cell regeneration. That's not enough reason there. Maybe you don't know enough about stem cells, but that should be enough. So that's why the Phoenix Protocol incorporates dry fasting. During the understanding of dry fasting, how it works, why it works, where it works, what's going on in the microbiology of the system during this time period, I've noticed that specific systems are regenerated, like the immune system. During the 7 days, you're not able to do that all the time unless you dry fast. Well, there are some nutraceuticals you can take, and you'll find about it in the book, that, it produces 70% increase in bone marrow stem cell derived blood cells. So you can add your own blood cells all the time, every week, every month, with a supplement that's been proven to work and is shown in scientific papers, which you can read on my website, cytolife.com. The other thing that's interesting is that during this time period, we found that there are a couple of different senolytics that really are useful. One is resveratrol and one is fisetin. Fisetin is one of these neat bark of tree, extraction of strawberries, nutraceutical from nature that does all these wonderful things. There's multiple pathways into cells to either figure out if they should die or not, and can either stimulate the effects to fix them, or to just say, okay, you're gone, and ID them, and then macrophages come in and get rid of them. They also, by doing this, silence the SASPs, the senescent type of these paracrine signals that damage adjacent cells, making more senescent cells, which makes more of these toxic poison chemicals. So if you can reduce that load and get rid of the senescent cells that do it, that extends lifespan, certainly health span. Resveratrol, same kind of deal. We found out that what resveratrol does, it actually sits on their sirtuins. I mean, here's 3 sirtuins right here, and they've got resveratrol nesting in them. And there are nesting sites for resveratrol because it activates the synthesis of NAD. Without NAD, the sirtuins aren't activated to clean up your genes, get rid of violations in the cells, work with the base excise repair process, and all the other stuff that keeps you young. I mean, if you look at this chart, it shows what happens. Senescent cells build up. And as they build up, all the chronic diseases of age occur because you're under a toxic load you're not getting rid of because nightly sleep is not long enough. Okay? When you think about what you're doing is you're loading yourself up with this stuff all day long in a horrible food supply and invading your body with toxins. And you can't have autophagy long enough under a nightly sleep to remove all of it. So just a little bit builds up, and then a little bit more builds up, and a little bit more builds up until after 60 or 70 years, you got a load that's extremely dangerous, extremely toxic, and affecting all the cells and systems in your body. Dry fasting gets rid of that in 7 days. See this? That's what comes out after a 7-day dry fast. I imagine that this is a lot of the old broken polyunsaturated fatty acids that normally, if you don't stop eating, takes about 600 days to get rid of. Maybe getting rid of it in 5 to 7 days. Also, the biological toxins, the chemical toxins, the agricultural toxins, all that stuff is probably in that soup as well as any other kind of debris that could not be taken apart by the body and is stored someplace and continually released during the Randle cycle. It's so crazy the way we've invented this system that completely is at loggerheads with our biological systems. But there are things you can do. You can dry fast. You can take the nutraceuticals during the year so that you can have all these same benefits. Some of the main side benefits from dry fasting during the year, like active sirtuins, that kind of stuff. And then every year you can just clean yourself out. Is that a hall pass for bad behavior? Well, that's up to you. Of course, because no one's perfect, and you don't need to be. That's the thing about dry fasting. You want to know the best reason about dry fasting? You lose weight, you get new body, and you eat whatever you want during the year as long as you dry fast once a year. I mean, you can kind of treat it like that. What comes out of you after 10, 20, 30, 40 years, after a 7-day dry fast, that's the amount of accumulation you've occurred. You know, you've accumulated a lot of garbage. You can't do that much in a year. So, so that's the thing about dry fasting. You do it because you don't have to do it for more than 5 to 7 days. After the first 7 or 2 or 3 7-day dry fasts, I'm doing it because I'm experimenting with this to see if it extends lifespan. That's what the Phoenix Protocol is all about. But if you just do a 5-day dry fast once a year, just do it a tune-up. Then you don't have the special refeeding syndromes, worry about and all that stuff. You just go back to eating. You're taking a little careful on yourself because you realize you got some new stuff inside. You got to be baby skin and take care of it. But for the most part, this is the best form of fasting because it's fast, it's easy, it doesn't cost anything, it's free, gives you a free stem cell infusion, gives you a new immune system, gives you new tissue, and you spend 5 to 7 days. That's better than 2 or 3 or 4 or 5, 6 months in a gym with all these crazy expensive foods and stuff. Because look, like my partner said, if food is the problem, how can more food be part of the solution? Dry fast. Be smart. I'll talk to you later.